And Julia, I got your email and I'll respond tomorrow if that's okay. It's just been a little bit of a crazy
Yeah.
day. Yesterday I was in
Yeah.
Siskiyou, so that's why I didn't dance. Tomorrow I'll do it.
Okay. We good to go? You want another half a second?
No,
Okay. All right, thank you. Kirk, we're gonna start. Okay,
thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting, and we will call this meeting to order at 4:07. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to 1.2, adopt the agenda. Are there any comments, questions? Anything pertaining to our agenda today? Jerry?
It pertains to discussion item number 6. And I see that Amy is not present. And is Melissa?
No, she's absent as well.
Okay. So, in light of that, I'm asking that we postpone the onboarding until the February meeting. The reasoning behind this, it's not just an exercise for the new member, Brianna. As some of you know, this onboarding procedure was over a year in the making. And it's really an exercise for all of us. And yes, the protocol calls for the first meeting after an individual is seated for this to occur. But I think it's a disservice to the overall board of directors to not have everyone present to hear the presentation. However, I mean, having said that, I came prepared. It's like my classroom teacher moment again. But I think it's best. And I'm sorry for the long-winded, but I wanted to give an explanation as to why I think it's, in my humble opinion, appropriate to postpone discussion item number 6 until February's meeting.
Now, when something like this happens where the agenda is modified, do we vote on that?
I don't know that it's necessary because this was a discussion item, not an action.
Okay,
So, I mean, I think that when we get there, like you could have just said that at that time.
okay,
It would be more.
It's just a discussion item. If it was an action item, then we would need to take,
Okay.
action on changing it. But with the discussion, I mean, because we don't even have to have a discussion.
right.
It would be just a formality,
Yeah,
not required,
yeah,
just a formality.
yeah. I mean, it's fine that it's on there. All right. And just to add to that, often I don't like in general to postpone things because, I just feel like then board meetings can get really impacted, like if there was a lot on the February agenda, there's not. Just like the January agenda is pretty light, the February one is fairly light too. So,
And I feel we all worked really hard putting together what we feel is the best package, so to speak. And,
And if we really wanted to wait, we could wait till March and do it when we're all together. Just a thought. I mean, that would be maybe a long time to
Uh-huh.
wait for a new board member, but, anyway. I don't know that that's a good idea, but just throwing it out there.
okay. All right. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I
move.
motion that we adopt the agenda.
I'll second it.
It's been, motion's been made and, seconded. All those in favor? Jerry?
Aye.
Brianna?
Right. I
And I also agree, motion carries. 2.1, we have a guest from Wairika. Nick, are you over there?
It might be louder, he sits
yes.
closer.
Would you want to come over here and?
Sorry, I have to move my stuff out of the way.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi. How are you doing today?
We're good. Thank you for asking. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent.
So I'm here to present or represent the manufacturing class to show what we have been learning. So we have started working with a program called Lightburn. So this is a photo of my family at New Year's. And what I do first is I import the photo into the program Lightburn, which will help run a laser. In which case, after I import it, I use the scale tool to get it to the right size of what I'm trying to do it or use it for. And so, like for example, I made this, what are these called?
Door placards.
For example, I made these door placards with other clip art, and so I had to scale the image so that way it could fit onto the placard. And so after I scale the image, I adjust the photo into something that the laser can understand and turn it into a either rasterized photo, which the laser will use dots to etch the photo out, or a vector photo, which it will use lines to etch the photo out with. And then after that, I use the laser controls to control the speed of the laser and how much power it uses to either etch or cut whatever I'm making. And another project of mine is another art piece from the video game Halo, which is something that I like. I used the trace image tool in the program to find the edges and create a line diagram. So I was able to trace the image and create a line diagram. And I was able to etch that onto a different door placard, which would be this one. And
Yeah.
thank you.
Technology.
And something that in the future I'm going to be learning how to do is making stuff like this,
Okay.
which is like a key card, almost, more so a card. And so other stuff that I do in this class is I work with a program called Autodesk, which was the first program that I learned. It is a 3D program used for engineering, and this program is used most in most engineering companies. And so this can turn into a real job that pays very well. And it's also a design tool for sending work into a 3D CNC mill, which can mill almost anything that you can imagine. So one thing that I was able to make was this Lego project. I was able to make Legos inside this program and build almost like a Lego set. Not entirely, but something. And here's me working on the Lego project. And so it can do anything that you want it to do within engineering. And it can also, there's also a tool on there that can show you animations of stuff. So if you were to make an engine and in that program you were to cut that engine in half and press animate, you can animate the picture to see how it's running and see if you need to perfect or fix anything into the thing. I've also done other projects such as a steering knuckle. So I had to use equations and dimensions for this and turn it into a steering knuckle, which took me a while, but ended up looking as this, which was the finished product. So I've also done stuff with a cone shape where I was able to revolve it around an axis using a 3D equation curve. I was able to revolve this around an axis and create a cone. And that's just some of the stuff that I have done. And there's more stuff that I'm currently learning about the different programs and Autodesk that I can do in the future and hopefully make more projects.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So
Thanks,
what do
Nick.
you intend to do with all this acquired knowledge and design skill?
Well, something that I do intend to do, which is a plan that I've actually started creating now, is turn this into like a business of mine where I can create custom stuff and sell it to people, and stuff like this I can make for hotels and sell it to hotels and they can use that, and I can just make them here. And so this will be like a job. So
Excellent. That's
Very viable market,
Good.
and it made me very excited to see the door hangers. I worked for years in luxury hotels like the Fairmont and the JW Marriott, and one of the things that was so tacky that didn't match our hotels were the door hangers, the little plastic ones. And for you to go in and offer that they could put their logo on it or the picture of the hotel or whatever you could suggest to them or that they wanted. I mean, you have a very, very lucrative market there, and no one else is doing it, which would be, you have a real niche there that I think you could really excel at starting tomorrow. It's really, really awesome. Great
Thank
job.
Nick, why don't you talk about how it leads to an internship and a job at Norcal?
another benefit of taking this course is this can also, like, after a couple years, right, a year or two,
After 1 year of the class.
after 1 year of this class, I can go to the College of the Siskiyous and sign up for the manufacturing class there. And in which case, after I go there for about a year, same time,
6 months.
6 months, I can then go to an internship into NorCal, paid internship, which will then lead me into a job at NorCal.
Can you explain what Norcal is for the folks that are in Humboldt?
An engineering company, right? No, yeah.
Norcal is a manufacturing facility that supplies both the military and industry with products for clean rooms and for projects that are held by the military that they don't really disclose. And so what it does, it provides a very good income in the fact that manufacturing is something that the country really needs. We're trying to get more things in-house these days. And so the demand is very high, the pay is excellent, and it is the largest employer in the town of Wairika. And so they employ about 300 people constantly. And so the potential is good. The agreement's been made through myself and the school that the internship will lead to a job and that the internships will be paid.
I really like that, the internships are paid.
Right, so it's a very synergistic community involvement project that allows the school to participate in the development of the local workforce, keeping the jobs local and employing the youth that graduate from our school.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness, I am really impressed.
Good for you guys.
Yes, excellent. Thank you.
Thanks for presenting, Nick and Eric. Thank you for setting us apart.
Thank you. Thank you.
And much luck to you.
Good job, Nick.
No,
Sounds like
Nick
you're
Nick has
on
Nick has a real entrepreneurial knack to him, and I don't think Nick would have trouble doing anything he chooses to do.
And thank you to you for making that synergistic relationship happen. It's so important, and it's great to see that we have a path laid out for our students to be able to go directly into those positions instead of having to.
Oh, yeah, that's
work
kind of
with-
stuff,
to
if
get
there's
their
room
foot in the
for it.
door. Yes.
I really believe in supporting the local workforce.
Absolutely.
I think it's important, and these kids are really worth it.
Yeah, you really are. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing the hard work.
Impressive.
Very nice
Nick
job.
also had students on our CEI team. So do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Nick. We're going to move on to the consent agenda, which we have 3.1, consideration of approval of warrants and payroll for Northern United Humboldt. 3.2, consideration of approval of warrants and payroll for Northern United Siskiyou, batch number 1205, 1218, and 0103. 3.3, consideration of approval of minutes for the December 13th board meeting. 3.4, consideration of resignations, hires, leaves, and change of assignments. And 3.5, consideration of approval of Williams Uniform Complaint Quarterly Report for NU Siskiyou. Are there any questions or comments about any of these? Jerry?
No.
Brianna?
Yes, I'm right here. Sorry, I was speaking with Nick real quick.
Oh, okay.
I was making sure, I still have contacts at the hotels that I was referring to, so I was letting him know to get a hold of me when he's ready to start his.
Excellent. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. Do you have any questions about the consent agenda?
No, I do not.
Thank you. I have one thought, I guess, and it's on the board meeting calendar. We have for the calendar that our closed sessions are typically after the regular meeting. Should the wording be changed? Because sometimes it's before the meeting, sometimes it's after the meeting, the regular meeting, based on accommodation for different things. And I don't know if we want to leave it as is or just tweak that sentence a little bit.
Was this part of the minutes of the consent agenda?
It was on the minute, it was accepting the calendar. Where it
But
says,
in the minutes?
in the minutes, It was 6.1.
So are you, because the consent agenda is just were the minutes correct? If you want to change what's on the calendar, that would be a new agenda
Oh,
item,
okay.
a new action item like next month. or
Yeah,
something.
and that was just my only
Because
thought.
a calendar isn't actually part of the consent agenda. you're right that in the minutes, we made reference to
Right,
them
right.
because they were approved in the
Gotcha.
minutes. But so if we want to change the calendar, we would need to make that as an action item in another meeting,
Okay.
which I can add it to the February agenda. I'm making a list of February things. I got onboarding.
We don't have to. I just thought that sometimes we meet before in closed session and sometimes after and. Okay, hearing no other questions or comments, is there a motion?
I move to accept the consent agenda as posted.
Is there a second?
I second to accept the consent agenda as posted.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
Aye.
Brianna,
Aye.
and I also agree, motion carries. 4.1, public comments. Public comments by the, or comments by the public. Under this item, the public is invited to address the board regarding items that are not on today's agenda. Please keep your comments concise, brief, and limited to 3 minutes. The board is not allowed under the law to take action on matters that are not on the agenda. Should comments from the public pertain to a charge or complaint against an employee of Northern United Humboldt or Northern United Siskiyou Charter Schools, the board encourages the speaker to utilize the school's written complaint procedures to pursue the matter. The public will have an opportunity to comment on all agenda items as those items are heard. Do we have any public comments?
I find myself all alone all of a sudden. We have nobody from the public here.
And hearing none, we will move on.
Can
to-
I,
Well, evidently.
Oh, Rebecca's there.
I just want to acknowledge that January is Board Member Appreciation Month. And so I want to appreciate all of our hardworking board members. Thank you.
I was gonna do that during my time,
Oh, did I steal your thunder?
but we have presents. Uh-oh.
Oh, Sherry, I'm sorry. I almost texted you, but
That's okay.
Thank you for your
I was just super
dedication.
excited about like what were gonna be your comments. I had no idea. It didn't even occur to me. No, that's fine. And then because Bryceland, so we had staff and Kirk has the cards for the Siskiyou board members. And since the Bryceland staff couldn't get here to sign the cards, they signed their own card. So I want you guys to be able to have the opportunity to read what they wrote too. So that's for you guys too. Well, so thank you. Thank you for being such great board members.
And under my board report, I was going to make the comment that I appreciate my partners in crime, so to speak. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be part of this. And I feel since we started, we've done an awful lot of good things moving forward.
Agreed.
I am really at a loss for words
Oh.
because we're not to respond to anything comments made during public comment items.
You can respond, you just can't vote or take action or anything. You can respond.
Thank you,
Yeah.
which is typically what you would say.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys.
We're going to move on to action items now. 5.1 is the approval of the IRS mileage rates for 2024.
So you guys know every year, the IRS gives new mileage rates and our board policy states that we'll reimburse mileage based on the IRS mileage rates versus reimbursing like gas receipts. And so it has changed to 67 cents. This last year it was 65.5 cents. Now it's 67 cents, so it's increased. a little bit, 1.5 cents. And I put all the background information in your packet so that you would see that. That's it. I don't know if anybody has any questions about that.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Bianca, or excuse me, Brianna, anything?
No, I don't have any questions. I remember when we approved that we'd follow the IRS, and the IRS is very straightforward, and so, I motion that we accept the IRS standard mileage rates for 2024 and increase the reimbursement rate up 1.5 cents from 2023 to 67 cents a mile.
Okay, I have to ask if there is a motion and.
I jumped the
You
gun
just
there,
made it?
sorry.
Made that, so,
I'll
okay,
second it.
and Jerry seconds it. It's been, moved and seconded. All those in favor? Jerry?
Aye.
Brianna? Brianna?
Could you hear me? Aye?
No, okay. And I also approve, motion carries. 5.2 is the approval of the school accountability report card for NU Humboldt.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that information not being, I don't know about that, you getting that late. You know, you may remember for the last 2 years for sure, maybe more than that, some of the information that goes into the school accountability report card is inputted by data from the state. And so for the last couple of years, the state has not had that data ready by the time we statutorily have to have it posted on our website. So you might remember what we've done is we've approved it not complete by the February 1st deadline so that we could post a partial one. So we meet our statutory obligation and then I bring it back to you. Well, this year I knew that they almost have it ready. And sure enough, Friday morning, CDE sent out an email saying, hey, guess what? We got all the data ready. So I was hoping that throughout the day at some point, they would get it all inputted since they had announced it. And that's why so late Friday, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna send the packet now without it because it didn't come. And then I thought, well, surely they'll send it on Monday morning. No, I literally got it this morning. But so that's why Monday, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna send the partial one. They didn't ever send it. So this morning at I don't know, what time do you think it came? 7:30, maybe this morning? I got it. Maybe it's a little earlier than that. And so then I sent you the completed one because the whole idea is if we approve the completed one, I don't have to bring it back later, you know, so that's why I tried to get that completed one out today. So hopefully you had enough time to look at it and go through it and all of that. So anyway, the school accountability report card is just that. It's a report card on the school. Every school in the state has one, and it just has a lot of different data, some of which you can see in other places too, but it just is a list of particular data that is required to be completed by schools, and then not only do we complete this and bring it to the board, but it's posted on our website. And then we also have to give it to CDE and they post it as well. So it's another one of those documents that CDE likes to do where they give us the information, we put it on this template and give it back to them. Makes no sense. It's just like passing the same information around all the time.
And Brianna, sometimes you'll hear the school accountability report card referred to as the SARC. Little acronym, condensed version, and they're one and the same.
Yes, I remember that from before. Thank you for the clarification reminder though.
Are there any questions for Sherry?
I have none.
Okay, hearing.
It's not a question, it's just a comment, you know, for those. These documents are valuable for those community members, parents who want to know all sorts of information about the schools and actually in each county. It's like how many boys versus girls
Uh-huh.
there are that are enrolled. And it's, you know, there's a section where it talks about, the textbooks, you know, the name of the textbooks. So it's just like, you know, if you're curious as to, you know, what curriculum materials, the schools are using, you can find it there. Just, safety, aspects, so on and so forth. So it's really a valuable document. Of course, Rosemary and I remember the old printed, colorful,
family.
very, you know, very elaborate piece of work. That every school strive to get done on
Get
time
done on time,
and
yes.
so on. And this is really the same thing, just in a different format, and it doesn't take away any of the hard work that has to go into it.
Yeah.
As opposed to the old way.
The old way.
And that, so, it's a wonderful document for those who are willing to seek it out, even if only for curiosity's sake.
And to piggyback on your comment, Jerry, working so long with the Coast Guard being our neighbors and community partners and whatnot, they were actually encouraged, incoming families were actually encouraged
To go look.
to
at
go pull
schools.
up Eureka City schools and the individual sites, SARPs.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think to some extent people still do that, but I think now people look more at the LCAPs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
But both are posted on every school's
Yeah.
website, so
Yeah.
parents can look at those for sure.
Exactly. Okay. Hearing no further questions or comments, is there a motion?
I move to approve the school accountability report card for Northern United Humboldt Charter School.
And is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Jerry,
Aye.
Brianna,
I.
and I also approve. Motion carries. Moving on to 5.3, approval of the school accountability report card and Siskiyou.
Same.
Mhm.
This is Northern United Siskiyou Charter School Accountability Report Card. All of the data pertinent to Siskiyou Charter School is in there. And something I didn't say that I think is worth mentioning, these are always a year behind. So this is the 2 years behind, 22, 23, right? Because last year would have been 20, no, this is 20.
No, yeah.
It's 1 year behind, yeah,
It's just how the data works.
yeah.
Some of the data is from 21, 22.
Yeah, there are some places where it's like 2 years, yeah.
Are there any questions or comments? No? Brianna?
I would just like to thank the people that put all the hard work into making these happen every year, and that they are very important. As a parent myself, it's something that I referenced, and just want to thank everyone that works so hard to put these out every year.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I motion to approve the school accountability report card for Northern United Charter School Siskiyou.
And the second?
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
Aye.
Brianna,
Aye.
and I also approve. Motion carries. 5.4, approval of certification of signatures for NU Siskiyou.
Okay, so you guys see these forms every year, usually just in June. But this year, we have to update one because, 2 reasons. One is we have a new board member in Siskiyou, and so Siskiyou County Office of Ed needs to know that signature. And so that's, this form is for Siskiyou County Office of Ed. So we've updated the board member. And then the other one is, no, I guess that's not on here, never mind. The second reason doesn't need, there's another form that goes with this that we did update, but doesn't have to come to the board. It's one that says who can pick up like payroll and who, you know, all those different like checks, accounts payable checks and the warrants and the payroll. And Vivian Hastert, who has been our person in Siskiyou for the last 5.5 years, is retiring, and we've hired her replacement. So her replacement, Danya, is now the one picking up, that will be the one picking up checks. And so we completed that form and gave it to Siskiyou to let them know that, but we wanted to update this one for the board member.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I move to approve the certification of signatures for Northern United Siskiyou Charter Schools.
And is there a second?
I second the motion.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
Aye.
Brianna,
Aye.
and I also agree. Motion carries.
Can I just add real quick there, Brianna, I don't know, you as well as the board members here need to sign this form. And I'm not sure, maybe Kirk could pop on. I don't know if he left that there for you.
No, I don't see any paperwork. Is it possible for to electronically sign it and send it
Kirk,
via?
did you leave like the
No.
purchase, the like badge cover sheets and stuff for them to sign?
I want to say I did.
Okay.
I
But-
don't-
Oh, no,
Nope.
there.
got it right here.
Well,
Okay.
I can.
We'll
I
get that
can-
to you.
Oh,
Sure.
hey,
Like I said,
can-
I just live a few
No,
blocks
no, no.
away, so if you need to.
I can like email this to Donnie or scan it to Donnie and he can
You
print it
can
up.
print it right now. Perfect.
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect.
All right.
Hey, you know what? Would it be better for me to have the board members here sign it and then scan the one that they've signed there? Because then all the signatures will be there, except for Amy's not here.
Yeah.
We're gonna
that's
have to
okay.
wait anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're gonna have to get Melissa to stop by at some point.
Oh, and then me and Kelly have to sign it as well, but we're here. We could sign it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you just get people there to sign it. We'll get people here to sign it. And notice that Brianna has to sign in 2 places, not just on the left, but also at the top where the clerk is, because she's the clerk.
Okay.
Thank you.
You catch
Okay.
that, Brianna? Thank you.
Moving on to 6.1, our discussion items that we have taken off of tonight's agenda and will put it on February's agenda.
Yeah.
We will move on to reports. We have 7.1, which is the enrollment and attendance report, which is in our packet. 7.2, financial reports for both New Humboldt and Siskiyou, which is also in our packets. Are there any questions or comments regarding those 2 items?
I have none.
Karen, anything? No? Okay, we're gonna move on to 7.3, the director's report.
Okay. Well, I just had one thing that I wanted to talk about that I don't think I have brought up here. I was gonna do the thing about appreciation, board member appreciation right now, but I don't think
Still
I
can.
I still can, thank you.
We can't hear it enough.
Yes, thank you guys so much for all the work that you do, seriously. I wrote notes about you in your cards you'll read, but something I don't think we've talked about yet that I want to be sure that you're aware of, that I kind of have a little update on is, have I talked to you about the way, and Kelly, you might have to jump in here, about the way that charter schools, countywide benefit charter schools like us some of our funding is related to property taxes. I mean, all charter schools get some funding related to property taxes, but because normally those property taxes go directly to the school districts. But charter schools, if they're serving those students, are entitled to those monies. And so if you're just a district authorized charter, you get like a little bit of property tax money for each of the students that you have enrolled with you. Us as a countywide, it's a little different. It's the basic aid districts that are in the county that the money that for the students that are that's their district of residence, if they're enrolled with us, we get that money because the district doesn't need it. They're not serving the kids, right? The money follows the kids. I'm saying this very convolutedly, but anyway, so on the Humboldt side, the way that it works roughly is when a student is enrolled with us, the money that comes from the state for that student, all the money for all students goes into the county treasury, and then HCOE divvies up the money to the different places, the different districts and charters where it's supposed to go based on the students that are enrolled. Well, so that's done kind of behind the scenes before we ever even know anything about it that's happening. And then at the end of the year, they true it all up to make sure that was all done right. At some point last year, like I think it was in the spring, because I think it was when Tammy and I were meeting with them to do budget adoption in Siskiyou. It came out that Siskiyou County Office of Ed has not been doing that. So for 5 years, the money that for the students that we've had enrolled there's 2 basic aid districts in Siskiyou County, and the whole time we've had students enrolled from those places, they were not giving us the money, so the districts got the money.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Tammy and I were shocked to learn that they had not done that. And so they said that that was on us to individually bill the districts for that. And Tammy and I were just like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be rough. Because you can see even like politically how that would not go over well for a charter to give a district an invoice, right? And so Kelly, when she came on, we discussed this, and she was able to go to CDE's website, and you could pull up, what do you call it? Exhibits, which tell you exactly how much like apportionment you should be getting from every district in each county. And so she was able to total that up. It's over $200,000.
Oh my goodness.
And so, I know. I know. And so Kelly gathered all the exhibits from CDE and gave them to the assistant superintendent of business at SCOE, saying, hey, these are my figuring. Would you look this over and make sure this is accurate? Because before we go and invoice somebody, we want to make sure that it's right? So we want to double check it. And then I had a meeting with the county assistant soup there just to talk about this. Like, I kind of wanted him to facilitate the meeting, honestly, but he wants me to have the meeting first and he'll get involved if he needs to. But I explained the whole situation, and he absolutely sees that that was money they thought they shouldn't have and were entitled to. And I talked to them about the idea, could we change this so that going forward, the county office does it behind the scenes kind of thing? And he said, well, maybe that's something we can talk about. But so yesterday I had a meeting with one of the 2 superintendents yesterday when I was in Siskiyou, and it went really well. Kirk was there. It went really well. He completely understood. He is kind of perplexed by this whole thing, and he also doesn't understand how Siskiyou County Office of Ed doesn't do that ahead of time. And we both have been confused as to how they have it trued up. So what happens is each month they're supposed to divvy out the correct amount of apportionment per CDE and what we uploaded in CalPads for our enrollment. And that happens every month. And then at P2, they true it up again with the CalPads information. And then end of the year, they do like a whole kind of final accounting of everything that's coming to the county treasurer. So either they were seeing that those districts were getting more money than they were supposed to and not worrying about it, and seeing that we weren't getting what we were supposed to and weren't, or maybe those districts didn't even get the money. We don't know that, but then there would be excess in the county treasury's account. Like when they close the books at the end of the year, how do they, like,
And why didn't the two auditors for
Right.
the districts
both, two different
Catch 'em.
auditors,
catch
two
that?
different
Yes.
auditors?
Yeah.
That's another good question. We have lots of
I
questions.
mean,
Yeah,
not only the school
pay
district,
them.
not only the school district audit,
How about the
auditor,
counties?
but the county's
Yes.
auditor.
Yeah, any of this would have been nice
Yeah.
to, like, no, it was not caught.
Well, good, you've done a great public service, thing on behalf of counties and
Uh-huh.
the school districts.
And are we the only one, maybe?
Well, there's only one other charter in the county, so I reached out to her as well, Golden Eagle. And so I asked her, have you been invoicing them? And she said, yes, but, so I guess for a couple years, they also didn't know. Then they found out, and then they gave a big
Uh-huh.
bills to the superintendents
Yeah.
who were not happy with it. They paid, they paid it. And then like the superintendent yesterday told me he hasn't gotten an invoice in a couple years from
Again.
them. So he doesn't know if they just don't have kids enrolled from their district, but I think they would, because they are much bigger than us. That charter is
Uh-huh.
much bigger.
Uh-huh.
And we've never not had kids enrolled. We've always had like 2.
Yeah.
Well, they've had like 12 from the other school. And so it's just has not been like something that has been caught up with. Where like over here, there are so many charters. I think it would be hard to miss.
Uh-huh.
There, and then the other thing too, with the other charter over there, keep in mind, none of their books goes through the county office. They don't even keep their money, like their money from the county treasury, it all gets deposited into their own bank account. Where that doesn't happen with us. They're completely like, they're outside of SCOE's purview completely. So that's,
Can
so
they
I can
really do
see
that?
why, some charters here do that too.
Really?
They still have to report their information to the county office, but they don't have direct access.
Nope. So you can, so in that case, you can kind of see like where there's no, like the county office wasn't closing out their stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they did ours. So anyway, so that's, I just wanted to let you know that that's gonna be an ongoing thing that I'll keep you updated with. I still have to have a meeting with the other superintendent. And then we're waiting to confirm, like the assistant superintendent of the county there, a business hasn't gotten back to Kelly yet about like, these are the numbers. But what, one really good thing too that happened in our meeting yesterday with that superintendent is he also just stopped contracting with the county office there to do their budget, and they have a new CBO. And their CBO is somebody who, when we first, at the very beginning of working with SCOE, she was our budget tech there, and she was really good, and we really liked her. She was super knowledgeable, and almost right away, she took a job in Del Norte at their county office. And then I think after that, I think she went to Mendocino County office, very knowledgeable, really experienced. And so I said to the superintendent, how about we just pair our CBOs together so like Kelly can talk to Michelle, because they know how to like find these exhibits on CD's website. They can make sure that, like, it will be so that, I think she'll be at a place where she can trust that what we're telling them we owe them, she'll be like, yes, that's right. Where like the superintendent and I both were like, I'm not sure, it's a different language for us, But anyway, so I wanted to let you know about this, and I'll keep you apprised of as we move down the road. But, for these small districts, it's gonna be a big hit. And it may be that we have to like negotiate some sort of payoff plan. I could see somebody not being able, like, they didn't budget this in their budget. But
But
in
it's in
theory,
their
they
bank
should have the
accounts.
money,
Yeah.
Right,
or they overspent some
Uh-huh.
years.
right, and
Um,
we're bad guys.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
You're definitely right about
But
it
the,
becoming political. and it
exactly,
shouldn't
and
be.
that's why I wanted the county suit to help
Oh,
me
yeah,
with
yeah,
this,
absolutely.
you know, so it wasn't like coming from me. But the superintendent I talked to yesterday, he really said like, well, let's figure out what we owe this year. So we don't get any further in arrears. Like
Right.
he's ready to like start paying like what he owes now. And then figure out what we want to do for the past, like how we want to do that.
We would have one lump sum.
You know, that would be nice.
Yes.
That would be nice.
It's, I'm sure, sitting either in their bank account or they spent it and it's on them.
Well, and like
Not only, you know, not only did they give
more money.
money than they should have,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
theoretically, they would have been possibly earning interest
Interest
somewhere.
somewhere.
With that,
Absolutely.
and all to the detriment of
Us.
who was, right.
Uh-huh.
Of the students that it should be
Yes,
going.
yes, yes,
That's
yes.
right.
Well, and Kelly said, like Ed Code says, they're actually supposed to pay us that by the 15th of every month. Like they're supposed to give us the apportionment monthly because
Uh-huh.
they get it monthly.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know,
If we would
so
do the-
when you, so
Yeah.
when you reach out to them, write to them,
Mhm,
you include
mhm.
the policy citation. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
come on, folks.
yeah.
Hey, we're only.
But it
trying
is,
to-
it is disappointing on the SCOE
Uh-huh.
not having like caught this for 5 years.
You know, if it were me and my decision, I would not settle for a payoff.
Mm.
This is what they owe, pay it. We won't charge you the interest that you earned on it, but pay us what we're due.
That's probably Kelly's vote too.
They owe it.
I,
If it was our own
I mean,
personal account,
That's a good
Yes.
negotiating.
yeah.
It, all of that is true, 100%. But I do feel like there is also a place when you are when you're a charter school, but especially when you are a countywide benefit charter school, where you do have to kind of walk this line. Because a countywide benefit, a county can they can choose to not have you be
Yeah.
a charter
Yeah.
at any time for no reason whatsoever. And if we cause a lot of problems, strife for them because, you know, the district superintendents are mad, like, we have to play a little bit, you know, which
It
is
becomes retribution.
a little bit, yeah, and you know,
And
you
that's
have
the
to have,
interest free that we're not charging.
yeah. But the good, you know, the good news is, we do have relationships now with these superintendents because I'm at the meetings with them every single month and have been year after year after year. You know, I know who these people are, they know who I am. And so that's why I kind of felt like it, you know, it was really good that like I was able to have this conversation yesterday with that superintendent and it went really well. And so now I have one more to do, like, okay, heads up, this is happening. You know, kind of ease into it, set the table for how it's gonna go, and we'll see
And
how.
could we be in a position of getting backlash as far as our auditors and their reports and findings and whatnot? That we don't have this, why haven't we pursued it, any of
I
that?
don't think anybody could say that, like, why didn't you say this 5 years ago? I think anybody could say that. Yeah, but it doesn't mean we weren't entitled to the money.
That's right.
Is there a statute of limitations on asking for the money? No. So. Anyway, there you have it.
Wow.
Wow.
Sherry, I'd like
Very-
to, oh, sorry. I'd like to thank you for building that relationship with the county school board here in Siskiyou. I remember before I left was we were forming and petitioning for the charter, the countywide charter, that was a big concern of what the relationship that was going to happen between the county school board and us. And when you said that when you went to the school board, the director the other day, and that he responded positively, that just was such a wonderful thing to hear. And thank you very much for building that relationship over the last 5 years. And I had a question, is those monthly board meetings, is that something that I could attend and become a part of as well? Or what is the division line between that?
The county board meetings?
Oh, you said that you're going to the board meetings with the the
I
school
go
board
to
meeting?
the county board, the county superintendent has all of the superintendents and charter leaders come to a meeting every month.
Oh, okay, okay. I misunderstood what you were saying.
Do you have?
And is that all for your report?
Yes, that's all.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I
Thank
think that's
you.
enough.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for this time.
Thank you. Moving on to 7.4, Northern United Humboldt's report, which is also in our packet. Are there any questions or comments for Rebecca? Or Rebecca, do you have anything to add?
Nope, nothing to add.
I want to add something.
Oh,
I-
Sherry.
I told Rebecca and Kirk both, do you guys really want do we need to put the school report on the agenda this month? Because we've had 1 week of school since the last time you got a report, because it was winter break.
Right.
And they said, yes, we have stuff to share. And I said, okay.
All right.
I
Well,
tried to
thank
get
you
it out.
guys.
Well,
I
good.
tried to
And-
get it out, but they
and-
wouldn't take.
Rebecca, I want you to, give a shout out to, Kathy Shermer, for the, update on the FFA.
Oh, yeah.
As one who participated with FFA, not that I was in FFA myself, but, section judging, project judging, all of that, and I can't tell you how wonderful it is, how heartwarming to see the starting up of a new FFA chapter, which is a monumental undertaking because you don't have, the history behind it and all the routine and the officers and anytime you start something from scratch. I mean, the learning curve is huge. And so I just think it's wonderful. It's because it's a win-win all the way around certainly for Kathy as the advisor, all the students. They're coordinating with Eureka High Schools chapter and of course for our charter school, and it's just wonderful. So I certainly appreciate reading about this and getting the updates.
I will pass that along to Kathy. She has worked hard for sure.
Piggybacking on Jerry's comment, she shared with us that she had courses or classes or some sort of instruction that she was undertaking prior to the opening of the FFA chapter.
Yeah. Yes, she's done a lot for that. So I will pass that along. Thank you.
Definitely invested.
Thank you.
Moving on to 7.5, Northern United Siskiyou's report. Are there any comments or questions for Kirk? Or Kirk, do you have any additions or anything you'd like to share with us?
No, I can't think of anything else at the moment.
You see, this is Nick that just presented.
Oh,
Well, I just want to say I really appreciate the holiday pictures. Them all dressed up, it reminds me of, no, shoot, what's one of the Christmas movies, and they have the nativity play and they've got the lobster and.
Oh, yeah, the lobster.
Yeah.
Love Actually.
Love
the
Actually.
lobster.
I'm looking.
The Christmas lobster.
And, so I like seeing that, but I am thrilled to see the magnificent
Yeah.
sign,
Yes.
that's out there. I mean, you can't miss that. I mean, that's not just some little thing hanging on the side of the building near the top. I mean, this is prominent.
This is
Yeah.
great,
It
yes.
is great.
It looks
Thank you.
absolutely fantastic, and I'm so tickled as how well the logo is represented in the middle of it. It's so clear, and even in the picture, you can
Yeah.
really see it. And having been gone for several years and remembering when that logo came about and talking about the signs here in Wairika, it's just absolutely. I'm so pleased to see how well it came out, and thank you very much for
Oh,
making
thanks.
that happen.
That's
It was a
basic.
company
Personal
in
person.
Reading
We should all have our
that
pictures
did it.
taken under that sign.
Yeah, that's a good
Mhm.
suggestion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah,
company that
there it
Reading
is.
that did it. It took them a while, but it finally got installed. And one nice thing, super nice thing, the landlord here chipped in a pretty good chunk of money to help repaint the frame, and because it was kind of old and rusted. So he spent like $500 on getting that repaired for us. So all we really had to do was the sign inside.
It
So that
looks
was
like
very
it
nice.
lights up. Does it light up at night? It looks like it's a.
No, it could, but there's no electricity to it. So that'd be a whole nother undertaking, probably fairly expensive. So maybe sometime.
Yeah.
But
It looks lovely just how it is.
thanks.
Solar. Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you very much. 7.6 is the board report. Jerry, do you have anything?
Well, I suppose so. Let me look through the card. Now I can say, I'm humbled that, I, as a part of, this board and, to be recognized and, another part of it, it'll be more meaningful in March when we can get together, but it's great that at least 3 of us originals are still at it. It goes back a long way, and I appreciate that, and of course, this is very apropos.
Yes, I know. I know, Jerry, I know you.
And, so thank you, but the only other thing, because I had inquired, about the
Yes.
lights, and it's, and I guess I just have to tease you, that if it were me, I would have just, because I'm assuming that there's 2 lines and it comes into this box. And both of them are there. All you need to do is cut a little bit bigger hole, and you put in a 3-way switch,
Yeah,
and you split those 2 so that this switch operates this thing,
right.
and the next switch operates that thing.
I'm sure that's what will happen. Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and I asked the landlord already if we could, and he said yes.
oh, cool.
Yeah,
Good.
and I'm sure that's what the electrician will do, except that it has always been a pain that it's over there versus over here. So that's another thought, is like, maybe I'll have to do it over here, but
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I asked the
because,
landlord already and he said
because of
yes.
the outside light,
Mhm.
that's probably the end of it. But,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
appreciate it because, a few times in the past, if there's been something on the screen, we turn the lights up. 'cause
Well,
we
and I
couldn't-
think it's worse in the winter, because when we turn the lights off, it's dark in
It's
here.
dark
In the
in here.
summer, it's not an issue so
Mhm.
much, but in the winter it is.
So, and it just makes, just like tonight, it just makes it so much easier to see, the image on this screen, which is not really distinct to begin with.
It's not super clear.
And, anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Brianna, do you have anything to report?
Actually, kind of rewinding, but also piggybacking off of what Jerry's saying, I wanted to thank everybody that made this new vinyl flooring happen here in Wairika. It looks absolutely wonderful, and coming from a food and beverage background myself, It's so much healthier, so much more sanitary, now that we're serving food in the area. And I'm really pleased with how well it turned out. It's excellently laid. Whoever we hired to do it, they did a very nice job. So I'm really glad that we did this for our students. I think it's was very important, and it looks great. It really lightens the room as well.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jerry, for your comment. And I have a couple things. First, I'm going to revisit the December crafts fair. I bought a berry cobbler at the crafts fair, and I put it in the freezer, and we had it for Christmas. Yum! Oh, they did an outstanding job. It was delicious.
We got one too.
Yeah, did you guys think they were good? Oh, yeah. So thank you, culinary students, for that. And I will end my comment with a big shout out to the board members for serving, giving of their time. It's as far as I go, I feel it's a true honor and a pleasure. And January is when we get mushy and say thank you. And so thank you, everyone. And moving on now to our next board meeting, 8.1, our possible agenda items.
So I've been making a little list, some of which you already know about, the onboarding, calendar for the closed session wording.
Okay.
Question mark next to
Yeah.
that. And then the comprehensive safe schools plan will also be in February.
We'll also have our LCAP mid-year report.
Our LCAT maybe report and maybe audit.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, we got the extension through February, but we'll see.
Jerry?
Sherry, could you update us on the protocols and procedures for, I don't know, if somebody is testing positive for COVID, returning to schools, because we're sort of at this trifecta, RSV, flu, and COVID, being around.
And that will probably be the case every winter from now on.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so, just so that we're kind of all on the same
Yeah.
page, because,
Sure. It actually just updated maybe yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before, it just updated. And so basically what it is now is if you have been fever-free for 24 hours or more without the use of any kind of, fever reducing medication or anything, and your symptoms are going away, then you are just supposed to wear a mask for 10 days.
does that apply just to being sick? And period?
That's
Or
COVID. That's specifically COVID,
what
but
happened to
any-
testing?
even if you test, you can still be testing positive, but still you don't have to isolate. So you only have to isolate if you have a fever or you're having symptoms and then after your day 5, it's just a tight fitting mask because people test positive sometimes for the full 10 days. But as long as they haven't had a fever for 24 hours and their symptoms are starting to go away, or if they're asymptomatic, they were asymptomatic the whole time, you still just wear a mask for 10 days now.
And does this obviously this applies to school personnel?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. It's an OSHA, Cal OSHA kind of thing, so employees too.
As
But-
well as the students.
As well as the students, it's the same
But
thing.
that doesn't include the school board.
That is the CDPH guidelines. So if you're gonna follow the guidelines, that's what the guidelines say. And that's been that way that's been happening for a long time. After 5 days, you don't have to isolate anymore. Now it's 24 hours without fever. So even less than the 5 days now, you can go out.
You said
As long as we're
that,
masked.
it was just updated.
It went to the
How
21st.
often is it updated or changed?
I'd say it is the last one, like before it was updated this time, I think the last time it was updated, and that is when it went to after 5 days, you can be out with a mask for, for up through the 10 days. I'm gonna say that was maybe 6 months ago, maybe longer.
Are we seeing any, cases, whether it be students or staff happening at our sites?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We had, when was the last, one? We had a pretty good outbreak. September, was it September?
September.
Yeah, and it's like staff.
Yeah.
Is the ones that we mostly, notice about.
So I still have to track them.
Yeah, we still have to report it to our workman's comp
Oh.
insurance.
I think there's probably been some more cases, but it wasn't like a big,
Yeah,
like one here or there, people have. had.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're at the point where we necessarily aren't hearing what they're saying.
Yeah,
what they
that
are.
is
Yeah.
definitely true. Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people aren't even testing anymore. They get sick and,
You're just sick.
Do we have tests available?
we do. Mhm. Yep, and in fact, I just recently ordered more. They should be here soon.
That's just funny, everybody has a different perspective,
Mhm.
and it is what it is,
Mhm.
but thank you.
Yeah,
And, this doesn't necessarily have to, go on next month's
Okay.
agenda,
Mhm.
but something to look into and put in the back of our minds, is the food, the meal situation. When you and I spoke before, you were going to do a cost analysis to see if what we're getting, and the students that are eating, if it would be cost effective to switch to a more
To us
gourmet.
doing it ourselves.
Yeah,
I think
or
that
the Jefferson,
or Jefferson. Yeah.
yes.
Well, I know Jefferson is, I don't have to do a cost analysis to do that, for that, because I remember what they charged.
Yeah. Just,
but-
I just don't want it to get lost, even if
Okay.
things stay the same,
Mhm.
just, I'd like to revisit that.
Okay.
And like I said, it doesn't have to be next month, whenever you guys start looking at next school year and,
Well, I was gonna tell you, that berry cobbler you like so much, where they got the fruit?
no. Out of the central kitchen?
Those were the fruit cups that the kids didn't eat.
No
Whoa.
kidding. Yes, good deal, because I always ask, when I visit the sites
Yeah.
and whatnot, I always ask, what do they do with the leftovers?
Yeah,
And-
that's what it was, that's what the fruit
And
was.
banana bread, with all
Yeah.
the bananas that
Yeah.
the kids don't eat. Oh, real? Oh,
It
that
was.
just, you can
It
tell
was.
that warms my
Well, I'm
heart.
glad, because when I heard that, I was still like, ooh, but it tasted so good, but when we were told that, we're like, oh.
What do you do with the leftover food? You feed it to the grown-ups.
Yes.
There you go. Yes. Mikey, you'll eat anything.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Good. All right, I think we have put down our possible agenda
Yes.
items, unless Brianna, you have something?
Actually, I have two thoughts. I thought more about what Sherry said about the onboarding earlier, and I would like to lean towards saying that I kind of like the idea of us doing it in March when we're all together, because although I'm a big fan of sticking with our plans that have been set down and that it needs to happen on the 1st, but since we've already broken that this month, that because so much work has been put into it and this is the first time that it's going to be put in action, that it might be really nice to do it when we're all in person together in March. But something we could maybe address next month, to see and make sure that we have quorum too. The possibility of weather and Melissa getting stuck again might come into play. But I just wanted to put my thoughts out there that I kind of like the idea that of doing it all in person together the first time in March this year. And then the second thing was about the location of next month's board meeting. Are we going to be in Wairika again, or are we going to switch to Mount Shasta since we were in Wairika this month? Because we were, and I would recommend, it would be, I think it might be nice in February if we were in Wairika again, just because of weather and transportation and everything else. And that we'll
Supposed to
be
be Mount
in,
Shasta
we'll
this
be in
month,
Mount
but-
Shasta in March, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
my
so,
understanding.
yeah. And
Um,
I know it's easier for Melissa because she was the one asked for us to be in Wairika this month, so it would put us back on track if we did Wairika next month like we had planned, if we had been in Mount Shasta this month. And
Yeah,
so
that makes
because
sense.
then in March, we'll be in Mount Shasta as planned, and then we'd be Wairika in April, and it would get us back on track again. Although that does put us in Wairika 3 months in a row.
Yeah.
But I don't know how anyone feels about that.
You know, the other thing is, since you guys both are closer to Wairika, it could always be in Wairika too. We always just alternated it before because the board members didn't, you know, one lived closer to one and one lived closer to the other.
Yeah, we can figure that out as we go along, but I think that maybe Wairika might be a good idea for February, which was
let's plan
planned
on
to be
that.
that way, but instead of flip-flopping it, because it would actually get us out of rotation, because then we'd be in Mount Shasta 2 months in a row. It's so I don't know how that feels,
Plan
but
on that, and then also you and Melissa can talk to decide if you just always wanted in Wairika.
okay, yeah, we can, I think it would be nice to be up in Mount Shasta occasionally, because any public that wants to attend would, from that side, would be able to
And
have
through Zoom,
those.
like that's why
Yeah.
Kirk's there.
Oh, yeah, that's true, that's true.
But still, I imagine you'll want to see the place and hang. So yeah, sure, it could be good to Mount Shasta once in a while. But I'm
March.
perfectly fine with always
Yeah.
basically always doing Marika if that's more convenient. Now, sometimes I have to say, Melissa has family in Mount Shasta, and it actually is kind of more convenient for her to be in Mount Shasta sometimes. But with
And
the
it's
weather,
actually, oh, sorry, go ahead, I didn't mean to
I was
interrupt.
just saying, with the weather potentially bad in February too, it it could make sense just to stick with Wairika for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think once the weather clears up, she can easily get up and over the back pass. But
Right.
that's not really feasible right now. So I'll touch base with her. I have her phone number. I'll touch base with her in the next week or so. And I had planned, I have this month pretty free. I'm working on my book, so I was planning on planning to come up and see the Mount Shasta facility sometime in the next couple weeks. I was going to arrange that with you, Kirk, after at some point. So,
I just want to sort of take off on what Brianna had said about the onboarding and possibly waiting till March. Everything that she had said is appropriate, true and correct. And as the person who's been designated to conduct this onboarding, I mean, I'm prepared to do it anywhere at any time, but to have us do it all together where I don't have to be looking at a screen and I can be in front of a board and, you know, going through all this, I mean, that's,
Kind of appealing.
that's my environment. I'm very comfortable in that kind of atmosphere. So on just one person's opinion, we could wait until March. There's a lot to be said for doing it in person with all of us together in one setting. And I'd like to go back and say that it's not just for the benefit of you, Brianna. It's really for the benefit of all of us. because, as someone remarked in how this has come to be, well, this is Jerry's baby. And, I guess, safe to say I have a lot invested in it, and, and therefore I think everyone needs to hear the same thing at the same time, all together. So, enough.
Excellent.
I don't want to speak for Melissa, but she said something last month that leads me to believe that I think she would agree with that. She had mentioned that about thinking it was very important for us all to be together, because someone was missing last month too. Once again, I don't want to speak for her, but I have a feeling based on her past comments that she might agree with that. And as per breaking the standard of having to do it the first time, I think this is an exceptional situation because it is the first time, and particularly Jerry, I agree with you about doing it in front of a board, like a normal board meeting. And we have the opportunity to, because I think we have a little bit more flexibility because I am a returning board member, that I think it's okay for us to have that little extra gap before we actually do it, because I'm not coming in cold from it. And I think that's all I had to say about that. So.
Thank
Some
you.
of Brand's
Thank
thinking, you
Yes.
wouldn't want to wait a couple months. but
Exactly.
In this case, yeah.
Okay, good deal. 8.2, our next board meeting is February 7th. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and at 5:28, I will adjourn the meeting.